Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. Hey guys, Colin the Big Yoshi here, and welcome back to the Marvel Marathon. Today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite movies, Spider-Man Homecoming. Alright, so, this movie came out in 2017, and was another reboot of the Spider-Man franchise. And can I just say real quick, I think that this was one of Marvel's best years, in my opinion. Guardians 2, Spider-Man, and Thor. So for me, I was very excited for this year, to say the least. So something that I like about this movie is I like all the new characters, and also all of the new actors playing the old characters. Like, I've already mentioned in the Civil War review how much I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's the definitive Peter Parker. And that still holds true in this film. He's fantastic in this film. He's just really youthful and innocent, and he's great on screen. Then I also love some other characters. Like, I love Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. She's a great Aunt May. I always thought that in like the other Spider-Man movies, in the original trilogy especially, I don't get why his aunt was so old. Why was Aunt May so old? Aunts are usually the same age as your mom. But then in the original Spider-Man trilogy, Aunt May looks more like Peter's grandma than his aunt. So I don't know, I just found that weird. Like, she seemed like a wise old grandmother, but she's supposed to be his aunt. It's really weird. And also, I love Ned. It's weird to see that Peter actually is a friend now. He never has any friends in the other movies, but it fits so well. I didn't even think twice about it when Ned was introduced. He's perfect as a friend for Peter. And the banter between him and Peter is great. Like, I love when he finds out that he's Spider-Man and they just and he's talking to him the whole day at school. Even though he says it in front of some people, like loudly in front of a bunch of people, and they don't hear. It's just really strange. I also really like Flash now. Flash is actually pretty cool in this. Well, he's not cool. He's actually really nerdy in this, and he seems like he could be picked on as well. But he just him and Peter are basically just like rivals. They just poke fun at each other. He's not really this big, strong jock type who just wants to put him in a locker every single day. No, it's much more realistic. I also love the main bad guy. He is one of the best bad guys in the MCU, in my opinion. He's so understandable in his motivations. He's Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. And I just love him because he's a really realistic character, because he's only doing bad stuff because he wants to protect his family and he wants them to still have a roof over their head. And I just love that about him. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just trying to steal stuff. He's basically like Aladdin. He's trying to steal stuff so that he can survive. Except he actually does murder someone. But it's a joke, so like, it's just cool that nobody dies in this movie except that guy. And it was really just a joke, so it didn't really matter that much. And the guy was also an asshole, so no one cares about him. I also like how Happy Hogan is kind of important in this once again. Well, not really, but like, you can tell that I love the banter between him and Peter, and it's really funny. I also like how Tony Stark is in this a lot. It's kind of weird, and I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Peter using Stark technology a lot, but it makes sense in this universe. So it doesn't matter that much that he didn't build his own suit. Like, he built his own webs, and those are one of the most impressive things about Spider-Man, so I don't think it matters too much. It makes sense in the MCU. I also like all the connections to the Avengers in this. it's a really unique movie because it lets you see what people think of the Avengers, what real people, normal people think of having superheroes in their world. And it's just really cool to see. And now I guess I'll talk about some specific scenes. So I really love all of the action scenes in this movie. They're all really cool. They all take place in varying environments, and they're all cool. Like, I like the one with the boat. I like the one with the van. I like the one in the bank. The final one on the plane. And the one on the truck. And I like how in almost all of these scenes, Peter causes property damage because he's a kid who doesn't understand how to be a superhero yet, and it really makes a lot of sense because he's just a kid, and you can even see that he's still unsure of himself as a hero, and it's really cool to watch him grow into a more responsible superhero by the end, especially like with the iconic line now, just like it's basically the new power of responsibility thing, except now Tony Stark says to him, if you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it. And it makes a lot of sense. Peter relies on Iron Man and his suit to do everything the entire movie, so then in the final scene he has to defeat Vulture all by himself. And of course it does cause Coney Island to be blown up basically, but whatever, it's fine. And I also like how Peter always does the right thing, even when he could be benefiting himself. Like, he could be making himself look cooler at the party, but instead he goes because he sees people that could be hurt. He could go hang out with the girl of his dreams, but no, he goes and catches the bad guys because it's the right thing to do. So like how even in the end of the movie he stays down to earth and he decides that instead of going against huge scale threats, he's gonna be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which is kind of the theme of this movie. It's a smaller scale movie. By not taking the suit, the Iron Spider suit. And a few more specific scenes. I really love the scene where Vulture and him are in a car because Peter goes to the prom with the girl of his dreams, and then he realizes that the girl's dad is Vulture, so they're in a car together, and Vulture doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, but he starts to piece it together throughout the entire scene, and it's great, like the use of the lighting, and Michael Keaton is really good at acting in it. He's just good at acting in general, obviously. I love that scene where he's trapped under all the rubble. It's a reference to Amazing Spider-Man number 33. And it's a really cool sequence because, once again, he has to get out without relying on his suit or Iron Man or anybody else. And also I like how the post-credit scene kind of has a cliffhanger in it that might set up the Sinister Six by having the Scorpion and the Vulture meet up in jail. And Vulture, he's still a good villain. He decides to keep Peter's identity secret because he's not a total asshole. He's still a good guy. And and this movie is so charming. It has all these little details in it, like it has this kid in the school mascot running around in every scene. They have this really funny news show where the green screen is glitchy, and the people are terrible at acting, and they have these Captain America videos that are just about teaching kids stuff, like about puberty and detention, gym class and stuff, and they even have one as the post-credit scene where he tells you that patience is a very good thing to have, and it's really funny. This is actually one of the funnier MCU movies, I think. And it's not obvious joke setups, it's just the interactions between the characters usually. So yeah, if I was going to give this movie a rating, I think I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's one of my personal favorites once again. I've always loved Spider-Man. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, then maybe leave a like and subscribe. That'd be pretty cool. And yeah, tomorrow I'm going to move on to Thor Ragnarok, which is a fan favorite. See you then.